Welcome to Inner Light, the sacred space where ancient wisdom meets modern awakening. Tonight, we are joined by the incredible Jeni Archer, spiritual alchemist, tarot reader, certified hypnotherapist, and the founder of Heart Magick. With her blend of intuition, ritual, and deep soul guidance, Jeni helps people uncover the wisdom they already carry, whether through tarot, past life journeys, or empowering workshops. Her mission is clear: to help you remember who you really are. Ready to ignite your own magic? So, Jeni, you call yourself a spiritual alchemist. What does that mean to you? And how is alchemy relevant to our healing journeys today?
So, the way that I define spiritual alchemy is taking the pieces of our lives that exist and seeing how we can see them from a different perspective in order to shift the energy in ourselves and change our path. There is actually a 7-part journey to spiritual alchemy, but most of my clients come to me in the very first phase, which is the calcination phase, which is just kind of that existential crisis or recognition that something is going on, that they're ready to make a change in their lives.
Absolutely. So, can anyone become an alchemist for their own life, even without a spiritual background?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, that's the goal. I tell my clients that the goal is for you not to need me. I want to teach you how to heal yourself.
That's so empowering. Alchemy as transformation through intention and self trust, not just ritual.
Yeah, exactly.
So, tarot is one of your core tools. How do you see tarot as more prediction? How does it become a mirror for the soul?
Tarot, I find, is one of the most interesting ways to access spirituality because we don't really know how it works. And I find that fascinating. The more open the energy flow is between the person sitting in front of me and myself, the better messages we're going to get through the cards. And how and why they land where they do, we're not sure. But the intuitive messages come through. I think it's a tool that's just been used for so long that it's become kind of a communal part of our collective, where the representation of the imagery now has meaning. And so that meaning can speak to us and mirror what's going on in our lives.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So, is there a card that often shows up in client readings when they're on the edge of transformation?
Absolutely, the death card. And a lot of people are afraid of it because when you have a death card hit the table and you're not familiar with the tarot, that seems really scary. But all the death card really symbolizes is enormous internal and emotional change. So when things are about to shift for you internally, that death card will show up. If things are about to change for you externally, often the tower will show up, and that card can look really scary too. But I explain to my clients and my sitters that if you're going to build a new house, you wouldn't build it on top of a pile of rubble. You would make sure to clear the old stuff away so you had a clean foundation. And that's what the tower card is speaking to. It's showing you, hey, what you don't need and what doesn't serve you is going to fall away. And we're going to leave this nice, clean foundation for you to start building the life that you want to have.
I love how tarot reflects our inner weather. It doesn't just control us, it reveals us.
Yes, absolutely. And it's very important to know what falls on the table is just one possible path. If you see something you don't like, you always have free will. You can shift your path anytime. So there's nothing to be afraid of when getting a tarot reading. It's just showing you how things are going to play out if the energy stays the same as it is right now.
Mm-hmm. 100%. So, you also work with past life regressions.
I do.
How can exploring a past life help someone heal something in this one?
It's been amazing to me to see with my clients, they have a fear of water they can't explain, or a fear of flying, or they have this special connection with one person in their family that they don't have with the rest of their family, and they don't understand why. And going back into these past lives, we can see the patterns that have played out in former incarnations and how we've brought those in. So maybe the person who was afraid of water, for instance, I had one person with that fear that had ended up dying, being thrown off of a ship in the 1800s and died of drowning. And we were able to work through and release that imprint that had left on them spiritually. And they were able to go on and be in the ocean and be in the pool with their children because they were able to heal it. It wasn't something from this life that gave them that fear. It was something from a former incarnation. So going back through past lives, that gives us kind of a broader way to heal the things that we carry around with us.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So, do your clients often feel a sense of homecoming or familiarity when they access that memory?
They do. Um, it's actually really interesting to see when they're coming in as almost skeptics. They just want to see if it works or see if they can go under hypnosis. And they don't really believe in past lives or former incarnations. But when they get into that space and they're looking into the eyes of their child, who may be their sister in this life, but someone that they recognize in spirit, and they begin to cry and they have this emotional, visceral response because it's something that they know is true at the deepest levels of themselves. And so being able to give them that gift of knowing this happens again and again and again, it's such, I think, a relief for people who are struggling with, is this all there is?
There's something beautifully validating about remembering we have been here before and we are still evolving.
Yes, absolutely.
You offer aura photography, and that's so cool. What can someone learn about themselves through seeing their aura?
What an aura photo can tell you is what energy is sitting around you right now. So often it can show you what work you've been doing. So if, for instance, you have kind of a blue around you, maybe a green light, a green band over the space where your head is in the photo, that would tell me you've been working really hard on coming into a space of being a healer, and coming into a space of holding um, holding that energy open for other people and making them feel comfortable in your presence. So things like that can show up. We can see if your energy is really depleted, if the colors are faded and transparent instead of opaque and bright. That will tell me, hey, you might need to step into some self-care here. Your energy is not up where it's most productive for you. We can even have guides come in. You can see sometimes at the top of an aura photo, with the type of camera I use anyway, you can see little orbs of light that are your guides, and see how many there are, where they are, and sometimes even have past loved ones that have crossed over come and sit beside you. You can get an actual human-shaped kind of outline in this brilliant white that sits next to you. At one of the fairs that I did recently, I had a woman that had that. She had a figure beside her, and I told her, this is someone, it was on her left side, so that was her mother's side. And when I told her, this is someone sitting with you, they wanted to visit with you, and she just started crying. And she said, yeah, I lost my grandfather on that side, and or my father on that side, and that must be him with me. And I thought, oh, that's beautiful that he showed up. And then later, couple hours later at the fair, this younger woman came up and we did a picture, an aura photo for her, and the same figure showed up on the same side. And I said, "This is someone on your mother's side that has passed recently. They're just here saying they love you." And she left and came back, and the woman I had taken the picture of before was her mother. So it was the mother's father, the child's grandfather, and he showed up in both photos in the same location. So it's really, really neat to see how they can show that they're present with us that way.
That's incredible. So, do aura colors change over time? And what do those shifts reflect emotionally or energetically?
Absolutely. So to give you a little bit of an example, you can see some of this on my website, but my aura signature is typically looks one way. It has blues in it, greens in it, some indigo. And I did an experiment when we were taking test shots to make sure the lighting was okay. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to open my crown chakra and see what happens. That picture looked nothing like my other aura photos. The band above my head was this bright, brilliant white, and there was this beautiful pink cloud around me. And it was just completely different just because of that energy shift, that conscious choice and intention that I had put forth. And I have a friend that did some test shots for me, and her base aura is blue. It's this beautiful, welcoming blue. And she stepped aside. We took one shot. She stepped aside. She did about 30 seconds of grounding herself and then stepped back in, and it lit up in this beautiful orange, yellow, red, blue, green rainbow colors where you could see she was connected. So it can shift within 1 minute. So it definitely shifts over time as well as you develop, and the different energies that you're holding change and shift with you.
It's wild how science and mysticism can meet in something as visual and soul deep as aura readings.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing, is the crossover between science and spirituality.
So, you're also a teacher, hosting classes, book clubs, and more. Who is community such a vital part of spiritual awakening?
I think we find when we begin our spiritual journey and we get a little deeper into it, that it's centered on the interconnectedness of all things. And that naturally and organically leads to us wanting to connect to our community around us, because we recognize that we're just a spirit in a body that is connected to that spirit in that body. And we're not nearly as separate as we think we are. And so bringing in the classes and the book clubs and the workshops gives people a chance to sit right across from another person that they may not have met otherwise and do something spiritual, like take a witchcraft class, or maybe they're making a manifestation box and they're engaging in their own spiritual development alongside someone else who's doing the same thing. And it creates this beautiful mirror of, we're all in this together. And I think we just need more of that everywhere, all the time.
I absolutely agree. So, how do you help people trust their own intuition in a world full of noise and doubt?
So it's difficult sometimes because a lot of different spiritual traditions teach us not to listen to that inner voice. And so most of the beginning of any spiritual development that I do with my clients is teaching them even to hear it, because it's been silenced for so long. And society tells us to stamp it down as well. You know, it doesn't matter if you feel like you shouldn't go into work today because you need to take care of yourself. You have bills and a mortgage and you need to get up and push through. And so we lose that sense of our own inner wisdom and listening to our bodies and our spirits talk to us. So we start there. We start with listening, And we start with learning to differentiate things that are coming from outside of us from things that are coming inside from our own mind and our own intuition. So I teach them a couple of different techniques. One is where I sit across from them and I say, okay, I'm going to say a word and I want you to hear it in your mind. And I say the word elephant to them. And I tell them just to sit for a moment and feel what that felt like, that coming in from the outside and how it played in their mind. And then I told them, I'm going to be silent for a moment. I want you to say that in your own mind from your self. Say the word elephant. And I let them have a moment to do that. And we talk about the difference of how that feels. So they're learning external information versus internal information, learning to hear that voice again that lives within them. And then the other one, I have them say, okay, tell me what your favorite food is. And they may say chocolate cake. And I say, okay, so I want you to say that 3 times. I love chocolate cake. I love chocolate cake. I love chocolate cake. I want you to feel how that feels in your body. And we do that. And then I say, okay, tell me a food you hate. Brussels sprouts. And then I tell them, I want you to say, I love Brussels sprouts 3 times. And they do that. I said, how did that feel in your body? And so they're learning that way when they're speaking something that is a true intrinsic truth to them, how that feels in their body versus something that is not true to who they are and how that feels in their body. So the first thing is just giving them a way to hear themselves.
Absolutely. That's the essence of what you bring. Magic is not an escape, but as deep for listening.
Yes, exactly.
So Jeni Archer reminded us that magic isn't out there, it's within. Whether it's tarot, ritual regression, or simply pausing to listen, the path to empowerment is already lit. It just needs your presence. So if you have been waiting for a sign to explore your inner world, that this is it. The invitation is open, the cauldron is warm, and the wisdom is yours to reclaim. So until next time, keep the flame alive and trust your light.